Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
That's just the way it is.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Things.
Nothing will be the same. Don't put me on the spot like that.
Changes. Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Lauren.
And we are
the
NeuroNerds.
Yes, that was on time.
I feel pretty good about that.
NeuroNerds.
So today we're getting into change.
And that Lauren doesn't know Tupac as well as she thought.
To be honest, the fact that you just know Tupac, period, makes me happy.
I'm technically an 80s, like born in 89, and then I was a 90s
You're
kid.
such a baby.
I know,
You're
right?
so yeah, you were a
Don't
90s.
be jealous.
You were a 90s kid.
Yes.
I was a 90s kid. You know what I mean? Like you're a 90s
Okay.
like kid. I was like a 90s kid. Like I was a teenager in the 90s.
Okay.
So like it was one of the most impactful times for music. I am very happy to be the age that I was in the 90s.
Oh,
It's also really cool because like it's coming around. Like you know how everything kind of comes around? Like in the 90s, bell bottoms came back for some
Oh yeah,
stupid reason.
I love bell. Excuse
Stop.
you. No.
Stop.
So from a completely like aesthetic point of view, when you have big hips,
Mhm.
bell bottoms balance them out, so you look very curvy without it looking like muffin top central.
No. All right. So like if you're complaining about having big hips and having to hide it, you're living in the perfect time. Big asses rule right now. Thank you, Kim Kardashian.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
is true. And
know?
J-Lo.
I'm not a fan. I'm Puerto Rican. I can say that. I can't stand that woman.
Wait, you like Kim Kardashian's butt better than J-Lo's?
I do. Kim Kardashian's butt was once described by Paris Hilton as a trash bag full of cottage cheese.
Yes.
So we're talking change today, right? Not like changing clothes.
Or yeah, that
Well,
could
you can
be
change
part
clothes.
of it.
It can be. It can be. So it's actually the choice to change. I know it sounds weird. It almost sounds as weird as the way Lauren is drinking her coffee right now. So
I blame Joe's cup. If you want to see what that's like, you better be on Patreon. It's super awkward, guys. And I'm like, I need caffeine.
it's going to be the most magical thing you'll see. It really
it's
is.
like literally like it's not round. Okay.
No, it's oval. It's a weird oval shape.
It's a square.
Is it a square? It is a square. It is a square.
Square with no clear, what do you call it? No clear corners. So it's super difficult for me to try and partake in my coffee enjoyment today.
I need to get this caffeine in my face. We both do.
I'm like, we're like twitching.
We are.
And that has nothing to do with caffeine.
that's just how we are. Has nothing to do with a brain injury either. It's just how we are. So post stroke for me, post a traumatic brain injury for Lauren, like we both made the choice to do something different, not just to like sit back and be like, well, this is just how this is.
And we're going to be coming at it from the idea of change, which is scary as fuck for a lot of people. I don't like change. I'm a control freak.
I fear change.
Right? Like, what is it? Fear is the pathway to the Sith, right? Like, the path to the Sith.
Exactly.
But
fear leads to hate. Wait, hate leads to anger. Anger leads to suffering.
there you go.
That's dope Yoda. Come
There
on.
you go. So we're also going to be exploring today is like when you have to change after you have when you're in recovery, and we're not talking about just physical changes that you're going through that you end up with, but like that mental change in order to recover. But like the difference between when your injury was maybe caused by your lifestyle or some poor choices that you made in the past versus like you didn't get a choice.
Right. So we actually have that covered here. Everything that happened to me, like it's like, oh my God, that's terrible. It happened to Joe. It was my fault. It was like, I take 100% responsibility for my stroke. It was all me. Yes, there are reasons for it. I was raised a certain way. I was raised not to do certain things. I was raised to do certain things. It was cool. I chose not to go to the doctor as an adult.
And just to put it out there, not all strokes are caused by circumstances or by your own things. Some are completely medical,
right.
spontaneous. But just Joe's was
mine in particular. My hemorrhagic stroke was caused by high blood pressure. That was all me. I had all the telltale signs. It was willful ignorance. It was all me. Lauren, on the other hand, she had no choice in her brain injury.
No, I didn't.
Some idiot was like, "Oh, there's a car. I want to hit it really hard." Right? I'm assuming that's how it happened.
It was more like, oh, there's traffic. Let me just swerve into a lane and there's another car there. That was like I watched this guy run into my car. I saw him.
That's crazy.
I saw him driving weird and I had a bad feeling. And so as like I came to a stop and the lane next to me did, I just saw him change lanes and slam into the back of my car.
Oh.
Like I watched in the rearview mirror. Like, you know, when you're watching a train wreck.
Like literally, you're watching a car wreck.
Yeah. And it was like, now that I think about it, it was almost slow motion where like I could see it coming and I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh man. Did you have time to brace yourself or was it just like, it's over?
I had enough time to really hold. So I hadn't slammed my brakes. I was braked and I made enough distance between myself and the car in front of me because I had a bad feeling
that you were going to hit that.
Yeah.
It would have been a double. Yeah.
And so when I saw him switch, I had enough time to really press down onto that brake so I wouldn't go forward, but that was it.
Damn. That's rough. Yeah. You had absolutely no control over that.
Yep.
You know, so that's
a difference.
That was traumatic in more ways than one.
Right. That's why I twitch when I
yeah. So like after that, like obviously you had to go through therapy and you had to go to doctors and you had to do all that stuff. Like these are all things that you had to do, but you didn't have to do them.
No.
And even the things that you chose to do on your own to get your memory back, to be able to write again, to be able to function the way that you normally functioned. You could have just stayed back and been like, well, this is a horrible thing that happened to me.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like, that's what it's going to be.
I guess I'm just going to forget words now. I guess I'm just not going to write anymore.
Right.
I guess I'm not going to be as awesome as I normally am.
Oh, I guess that.
You know what I mean? But like it was your choice to actually get up, stand up and fight.
Yeah, perseverance, y'all. You gotta put that in your back pocket and take it with you because that's literally what's gonna see you out through recovery.
It is. That's inspiring as hell. Like it really is. You know, like I've seen so many people like through physical therapy, through chatting with people online, which has been amazing. Operation Brain Buddy Outreach.
Yes,
has been pretty successful. You know, it's been really, really successful. So I'd say 3/4 of the people I've reached out to have responded. And like I now have a bunch of new brain buddies.
That's awesome.
Several people have just randomly reached out to me. Because like I'll put out little stories and be like, hey man, reach out to me. I'm really cool. Hey guys, I'm really nice. I love talking to you guys. Like I love sharing stories.
Why you gotta lie to them?
Actually, I'm kind of a jerk. I'm not very nice at all. But yeah, it's been amazing. So like talking to these people, but so like most of them are super, super motivated. There's a handful of people who are just like, yeah, my life's over. Yeah, everything's hard. It's too difficult. You know, this happened and now everything is terrible. It's like, that sucks. Like I agree with that. This happened and everything seems terrible. Is everything really terrible? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some people are like, yeah, but I'm not how I used to be. I'm not able to do the things that I used to. There's some people who unfortunately can't walk.
Right. This is like what we talked about where it's like, you can't keep using where you were before pre-injury as your new yardstick.
Yeah.
Because you can't use it.
It's a new normal.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be terrible.
No.
You know, there's acceptance. We talked about acceptance a few episodes ago.
I think we talk about acceptance a lot because it's super important.
It is. And you know what? I fight it almost daily, you know, like when I can't do something, all right. So we do Felice. I don't know. You guys are familiar with Felice. She's been an occasional co-host when Lauren's traveling the world or just being awesome as she is because she's a Renaissance woman and does everything.
Guys, I don't pay him.
No, you threatened me. So
I haven't beat him yet.
Yeah, you heard it. You heard it. See?
Guys, he's just earning it. Like I'm just waiting.
I live in fear. So she throws a game night market. And it's affiliated with like Airbnb. It's an Airbnb experience, and there's music and there's games and there's vendors, and it's like a lot of fun. So she does that, and I load up the car with all the stuff, and I run the Carmen Tequila that sponsors the events. So I loaded up the car with everything that we needed. I got my dog in there. I forgot her leash. I forgot Stella's leash. I left it right outside in the little thing, the little wooden thing outside, and I left it there. So I was driving to the event, and like halfway there, I'm like, I forgot something. And I went through my head. No, I got that. I got the games, got the equipment, got the PA system. I got all this and that. And I was like, Stella's leash. I think I left it on the thing. And I remember putting everything in, except that I didn't have the memory of me putting it in. And then, Sleep, another co-host when we were in, a guest co-host when we were in Coachella.
Yep.
Sleep, I was like, hey, can you take a look? And he sent a picture of it outside. And I was like, Joe, you moron, idiot. You just you're the dumbest person in the world. I was like super mean to myself.
Yeah, that was like a little infraction.
Tiny
Huge
reaction. Yeah, but Sleep broke it down. He's like, dude, you remembered.
Yeah.
You actually remembered before you even got out of the car. You remember on the way. So I was like, yeah, thanks, man.
win.
I appreciate that. So it was a win. I have to make a choice. Speaking of change, I have to change that because it's not healthy.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So going back to you, right? Your he's doing thumbs.
Me.
All about me. Right? Who is that? Me. Right?
Wait, it was Julia Roberts on The Family Guy. They made fun of it.
Yes.
And they're like, Julia Roberts accepting a speech. She gets up there. Me.
But talking about change. So before we get into where we are today and the changes we have to make today, especially for someone who life choices affected their injury, right? When did you realize that you had to make a change for better or worse?
I was in a hospital. This is what's crazy and unfortunate.
Yeah.
I was in a hospital and I had just woken up from a brain surgery, I guess you could say that. I don't really have a lot of memories. I just remember one day I'm at Felice's show with a terrible headache. And then the next day I'm being escorted into a shower. It was crazy to me.
It's like a time jump. You're just literally like, wait, what?
It is. It was like quantum leap.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't in my own body because I was like 30 pounds lighter. I was frail. I couldn't move. It was a lot, you know, and then thinking about like how I got there.
Passed? Is that about a month?
Before, like, I don't remember the first couple of weeks,
right.
really. I don't remember getting to the hospital. I don't remember the emergency room.
Right.
I don't remember any surgeries, obviously. I think I remember the ass end of me being in the hospital, which is like week 3, maybe. And then, you know, the crazy wander I went on and everything. So like, I remember like just patches of time. It's like Memento.
Yeah.
It's like little things. But then, you know, when I got home, I think is when like everything kicked in because like I started to kind of be a little bit more myself.
Right.
And then I realized everything that happened to me was all my faults. The stress, the anxiety, the depression. The depression isn't, people get depressed. It's your fault you're depressed. No, it was my fault that I wasn't able to process certain things. And I constantly let the same things happen and get to me. And I did nothing different. That's where I take blame. But like the depression hit and all of those things. And I needed to do something about it. So it was radical acceptance that I had a stroke. I can't move the way that I used to. I have to use a cane. Fuck's sake. Oh my God, I hated that cane.
Yeah, I know. You've told me you refused to use it.
Oh my God, yeah, I did. Don't do that. If you're out there, like if you need it, use it now.
Therapist, guys.
Please, like do that. Don't listen to Joe. Joe's an idiot.
Yeah, Joe is not a doctor.
No, not at all.
Neither am I.
So I tried really hard to accept it. And then I knew I had to do something different. So I knew I was never able to like meditate beforehand, but I was like, this is a new me. And I don't ever want to be in a hospital bed again.
Right.
So I changed the way that I ate. I changed the way that I thought. I fundamentally changed everything about my life.
And how hard was that for you?
It's an everyday struggle. Hey, you talk about Tupac. We answered it with, now we're talking Biggie. It's an everyday struggle. So it really is.
We're going West Coast to East Coast, y'all.
Because I went 39 years of my life living a certain way.
Yeah.
It's only been 2 years where I'm Joe 2.0.
Right.
I still have those same draws and tendencies. Like I still go dark really quickly. Like when I forget a leash, something it's small on the large scale. It's like this insignificant grain of sand in this giant world. But to me, it's everything in the moment, you know?
It's also like one of the little things you can control.
Exactly. And I don't feel like especially early on, that I had any control of anything. I didn't have control the way that I walked.
Yeah.
I needed assistance walking. When I was in the hospital, I needed assistance getting into a shower. I remember it was one of the memories I do have. I was like naked sitting down on a chair because I couldn't stand really. And then like some lady would pop in and she'd be like, are you okay? All right, cover up real quick. And then like I would put a towel over my goods and she would come in and like help me.
And sponge bath.
Like just make sure like I was wet in the right spots and get the soap off of me. And I'm like, it was a shock to my system.
I'm sure.
You know, because I fancy myself pretty damn good athlete, you know, and I couldn't even bathe myself at the time. So that's radical acceptance right there. And I guess the change that like I chose to make a change because I never wanted to go through that again.
Right.
So I wanted to
that was like your low, your low of your life.
It was literally life changing. It was life giving, not life changing. It was life giving. It gave me my life because
you could have died.
I could have. I could have. I think the 39 years that I lived, I'm doing quote fingers.
Mhm.
I didn't really live.
Mhm.
I was alive.
Existing.
I was existing. That's perfect. I was existing. I didn't truly live up until the last couple of years.
Mhm.
Like now I actually feel like, oh, this is what life is. Life isn't about just making it to the next day. It's about enjoying the moments in life. It's growing as a person. It's connecting with other people.
Mhm.
It's that I think that's what life is. It's all about growth. And
Yeah.
I didn't have any growth. I was just stagnant. I did everything in my power just to get like those seconds of joy.
Of gratification.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
with disgusting food, horrible relationships. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
just like, oh, well, I had that one moment of happiness. That's all that I need. That'll carry me for the next 2 days.
Mhm.
You know, and like, oh, I'm feeling depressed. Let me get a McRib.
You always talk about that.
I
damn Mc-
love the McRib.
Oh my God, that just sounds awful.
It's
I don't think I've ever had one in my life.
Oh, Lauren, it's disgusting, but it's so good. it's so good. So yeah, so I changed everything. I like literally everything.
So what were some of the repercussions you had to that big radical change?
I lost a lot of contact with a lot of people.
Mhm.
And it crushes me today. That's one of the biggest struggles is I don't really spend a whole lot of time with my family anymore. I love my family. And it's not like I had a very large family. I had 2 members, you know, I have my mom and my sister, but it's hard for me to be around that because they've known me a certain way for 39 years. That's just who Joe is.
Right.
This is new Joe.
Yeah.
I'm a
You're a brand
complete
new person.
new person.
Yeah.
They haven't gotten to know that person yet.
Or they don't want to.
Well, yeah. So that they're not ready, just like I'm not ready to just continue doing what I used to do.
Right.
I can't. It's not good for me. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
And so like I don't have as much contacts, and that's hurtful for me. But it wasn't healthy for me.
Yeah.
It really wasn't, you know. And yes, I've changed. I've changed for the better.
Mhm.
And like if you just look at it on paper,
Mhm.
this is the right thing to do.
Right.
This is the right thing to do for my health. So I would appreciate others to do that as well.
Mhm.
You know, and it's just really, really difficult that other people don't make that decision.
Yeah.
That they just do this thing, and it's like, well, you're harming yourself. You're not putting yourself in the best position to live and to be here for a long period of time, and you're not putting yourself in a best position to like to help me
Right.
in my recovery, and that's unfortunate, you know. But on the flip side of that, I've gained so many new family members,
Mhm.
you know, in you.
Mhm.
In a lot of my survivor friends from
Mhm.
literally all over the world,
Mhm.
which is amazing. I one of my closest friends is my friend Rihanna. I talk about her a lot.
Right.
She has been such a huge part of my recovery.
Oh yeah, she's awesome, and she'll send me messages. I'm like, oh my God, you're so cool.
She is. She's
I like
literally
her.
she is an incredible
And
person.
I love her hair. Rianne, I know you're listening. Your hair is so dope.
Oh yeah, it's blue now.
I
Go
know it
back
was
to pink.
pink,
Go
and
back
then-
to pink.
I actually like the pink hair.
Yeah, go see NeuroNerds have spoken. So I even though like I've lost a tremendous amount, I think I've gained so much more.
Right.
You know, the deficits are outweighed by the positives.
Right.
You know, like I've lived more life in the last 2 years than I did in 39 years prior.
Well, because what ends up happening is when you start looking at and kind of breaking down like what is good for you, what isn't good for you. You know, we're always taught, you know, blood is thicker than water and everything like that. And it's true. Like if you can hang on to your family, that's who they are at the end of the day and whatever. But a lot of us, you know, we don't always have the best family or people in it. You know, I'm really blessed. I have an amazing relationship with my parents and my brother. Like we're all super tight.
You're very attractive parents.
Yes. my parents are pretty good looking. But, you know, with some of my extended family,
Mhm.
I don't have anything to do with some of them because they don't agree with some of my choices or what I've done with my life.
Oh, they don't want to see your ass on Instagram?
No, this is when I have one of my Mexican aunts who has straight up called me a whore
What?
for being a pole dancer.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know Lauren teaches pole.
Yes.
She's a pole dancer. She teaches belly dance. She
Mhm.
teaches twerk.
Work
She
and martial arts.
Martial arts. She's a Renaissance woman. But as for whore, you are so far removed from that word.
Yeah, I know.
Lauren is one of the sweetest, kindest,
Oh my God.
you know, professional people
Yeah.
ever. Like the word whore, that's not even in your vortex. That's
Well,
nowhere near you.
And see, for me personally, I don't really have I'm like, when people say whore, I'm like, okay, fine, whatever, fuck you. Like it's about you, not me.
Right.
So, but it's, you know, I have family that just don't agree, and I'm like, fine. And the hilarious part is, my biggest fans about me being pole dancer is my 84-year-old Latino grandfather, my dad who comes to every competition as long as it's not the exotic competition, because he's like, you can be a badass, just not a sexy badass, right?
It's a good point.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And some of my great aunts and uncles who didn't go to my last competition, but my grandfather told them about it. Now they all want to come to my competition.
Amazing.
Right. So I actually have less problems with like my immediate Latino family than I do with like either my white family or like my aunt who lives abroad. Now, again, no one really likes my aunt abroad.
There's a reason.
Yeah, there is. Like, she literally declared, she's like, no one wants to hang out with me. And my grandfather's like, well, if you're mean to everyone, no one wants to hang out. Right. But on that thing, it's like, you got to cut out things that are not good for you, that are toxic. And unfortunately, when you decide to make a radical change in your life or to follow a path that's not necessarily the normal path, you're going to have people that are coming from places of fear for themselves. And they're going to be, what's that called when you...
It's projecting.
Yeah, they're projecting on you. So like with my aunt, I know it's all about her ish. I don't know what it is, whether, because I know she needs therapy, but she's never gone. She's bitter. She's got issues. She's in her 60s. I get it. So she's projecting on me and I'm like, you know what? It's about you, not me. We're
right.
Cool. Right. But same thing when you're in recovery and you decide to make a radical change for your health. You change the way you eat. You might be going to the gym. You might find religion. You might lose religion. Right. You might, decide to take a different path. And if your family is not on board and or not open and receptive to you doing what you need to do, unfortunately, that becomes a casualty a lot of times in recovery. Is you end up losing friends and family who don't want to basically level up with you or give you the space to level up. Mm-hmm. Right? You okay there?
Yeah. No, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But like it's hard. None of this is easy.
No, none of this is.
Going through this it's not just for us though. It's so hard on our friends and family.
Yes.
It's so hard on my significant other.
Because you're demanding changes that affect those people around you.
It's so much. And I'm so thankful for the people that have like fought through it. You know, like I drive Felice crazy, but yes. I wouldn't be here without her. Yes. And I understand the stress it puts on her, but then, on the flip side, like she puts a lot of stress on me and we just have to figure out that balance. Some people just can't take any of that. I just want it to be how it was.
Or people just aren't ready.
You're right. People need their time. So that's fine. I have my time and my time is now. I don't want to waste any more of it. So like I'm moving forward. You take your time and when you're ready, I'm right here.
That's like when you have to be your own hero again and your own advocate.
Yeah.
Again, find your favorite superhero, or I'm looking at Boba Fett right now. Be Boba Fett who doesn't give a shit. Okay?
Just stay away from that Sarlacc pit.
I was about to say stay away from the Sarlacc pit. See, look at us, one brain. But like that's when you make sure that you're ready and you have your own support system. But sometimes you have to say, all right, you don't want to change. You don't want to come along for the ride. That's fine. Right. But I can't have you be a part of my recovery and my life until you can match like my right. vibration.
Like if you don't have to help me along my recovery, but you can't hinder me.
Right.
Like you can't.
You can
I can't
be
do
neutral
that.
or positive. You can't be negative.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing. I get this a lot. Things aren't always good.
Yes.
Things aren't always positive.
Yes.
There are bad things that happen. Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But it's not always that. That's not everything. Now you always have a choice. This horrible thing happened to me. I can dwell on it the rest of my life. And people will be like, well, yeah, that did suck. I get it. Or I can say, yeah, that's terrible. I'm going to move past it. I'm going to grow past it. I'm going to be bigger and better than it. That's what I choose to do.
And the same thing, when you have something happen to you. So if you have a stroke, you have a concussion, you have a traumatic brain injury, something, or, you get in a car accident, you have a divorce, break up, something, right? You're allowed to mourn. You actually have to mourn in order to recover and to move on. You have to mourn. You have to have that period, mourn what you had, mourn what happened, where you were, where you are now, where you're going to have to go. But then you got to like limit that. You can have a pity party, right? And I say pity party without judgment, right? Like it's not like, oh, you're having a pity party. It's more like, no, have your pity party. You have to, or else you will never move on.
Right.
But then you have to make that choice.
Move on.
Yes.
That's the thing. Then move on. Out of both, like you have every right to be pissed off at the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I mean that.
I didn't choose to have a brain.
Look, you're an uncomfortable genius. You know what I mean? And to have some of that taken away through no fault of your own.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything stupid.
Right.
You did everything
He
right.
was going to work.
And then this moron
Yeah.
ruined everything in that moment. He changed fundamentally the way you live your life.
Yes, very much so.
You had no choice in that.
Yeah.
You have every right to be bitter, angry, and nasty, and you're not.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's beautiful. That's inspiring as hell.
Thank you.
Like it really
that was
is.
hard, but yes.
It seriously, it must be so difficult for me. It always comes back to, yeah, I have these deficits. I have this short-term memory issue. I have this fucking disturbing case of PTSD. I have tremors in my right hand. It sucks to write sometimes. Oh yeah, you did that, idiot. Yes, I was raised Catholic. Yes, I was raised not to talk about anything, just shove it down. Yes, I was raised not to go to the doctor.
Yep.
These are things.
Oh, you're Latino.
Yeah, exactly. But at a certain point, I'm an adult.
Yeah.
Like you have to now seek out information. You have to seek out, you have to look at things and be like, yeah, this isn't normal.
You don't get a pass to be willfully ignorant.
You don't. And once you're 18, you're legal. You're an adult now, you know? So I was 39. So I never went to doctors. It's not normal to feel a certain way and then just be sick for a week and then it gets too extreme and then you go to the emergency room and they patch you up and then send you on your way. That's not normal. I didn't know what urgent care was. I didn't know what that was. It's amazing. I didn't know that was a thing. And it makes so much sense if you just like lay it out. It's like, oh yeah, it's the in between a doctor's appointment and the emergency room. You just go because it's urgent, but it's not an emergency.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. You know what I mean? But I didn't know these things. I should have sought that information out. My family didn't know these things because we grew up super poor.
Right.
We just grew up not going to doctors, living in fear. But I needed to grow past that. I didn't. I didn't seek out this stuff because I wasn't ready. You know, I didn't know how to. I had no guidance.
It's kind of like you don't want to go to the doctor because if there is something wrong, right? You don't want to know that there's
which
something
is
wrong.
the craziest thing in the world.
It's very what the counterintuitive. It's it's like where you're like, oh, I think something's wrong, but I don't want to go to the doctor and have them tell me something's wrong so I can handle it now.
Right. That makes no sense, but a lot of people think that way, and I get it.
Yeah, because it's
fear.
Yeah.
Fear rules.
Yeah.
Fear. It will dominate over sense any day.
Yes.
You know, the reality doesn't mean anything because fear is correct.
Yeah.
You know, fear. Oh my God. I lived in fear my entire life. I get it, you know, but I chose to be better than that. I chose to move past that.
You know what fear stands for? This is one that I think my mom gave this to me.
I don't.
False evidence appearing real.
Real. Yes. And it's absolutely false evidence. So all of this fear that I had was fake. All of it. Well, the doctor's going to tell me I'm sick. No, the doctor's going to tell you you're sick if you're sick.
Yes.
And if you're sick, he's going to tell you how to get better.
Yes.
That's his job. That's what he does.
That's why he went to school.
Right.
Don't be Dr. Google. Okay.
Oh no, because everything's cancer. Don't go down the WebMD rabbit hole.
My friend, she was in school. This is if anyone's a med student out there or pre-med, there's a stage that goes when you're studying that when you're going through your basics or whatever, and you're looking through everything, that's when they think they have every like dread disease on the face of it. My roommate came in one day and she's like, I think I have bubonic plague.
Holy shit.
And I was like, well, it's technically not eradicated, but I'm pretty sure you don't have bubonic plague.
Percentages say you might just have the flu.
Well, the other one was she came in one day as well and she swore she had HIV and AIDS. And I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, will you go with me to go get tested? So I went with her to the student health office to get tested. And so what they do is they give you an interview, right, to see your risk factors and stuff like that. So I literally sat there and the guys just asked me all these questions. And I'm like, nope. And he's like, okay, so you have absolutely zero risk factors.
So why are you here?
Yeah, that's what he literally said. So why do you want the test? And I said, because my friend's freaking out that she has it because she's in med school or in pre-med and she was too scared to come by herself. And he looked at me. He's like, you're a really good friend. Yeah,
absolutely.
I was like, yeah, just give me the swab, dude.
Absolutely. That's, you know.
Yeah, so if your friend's freaking out, go get tested for shit with them.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell them that like it's irrational, but it's irrational, so they're not going to listen.
Especially if you're in college or something and you have in campus healthcare, they have all those testings there. But yeah, like if you swear you have bubonic plague, I mean, like go get it.
Yeah,
go get tested.
Yeah, hey, go get it checked. Maybe you do. Yeah. Maybe you're the one in a billion.
I mean, like, seriously, things are coming back, y'all. So
Hey, that's very true. But yeah, like you have to want to make change. So I used to I'm writing a blog right now about,
I'm proud of you.
I haven't
that
blogged
you're
in a while.
writing.
Yeah, I'm doing the damn thing. So like it's been really, really difficult. But so the one I'm doing right now is helping myself through helping others.
Ooh.
And I know that sounds awesome,
Mhm.
but like the whole first half is terrible because I was super depressed beforehand. I would help people to get the joy of
The self-gratification
them. So I was using them to make myself feel better.
Yep.
It's like, hey, I helped that person out of a jam. That's great. I'm doing well. No, I'm doing horribly. Like I'm like a passenger in their life as opposed to just being the captain of mine.
Right.
So that's what I'm going through right now. And it's but I'm in the middle of change. So like I'm changing that, and I've changed that. That's one of the biggest changes. I've always been a helper, always. Now, but I was helping you so you would help me feel better.
Yes.
Through living and doing the things that I should be doing myself, but I can't. So I'm living vicariously through you.
Yes.
That's not healthy.
No.
You have to make sure you're in a good place. So now when I help people, it's incredible.
If you're kind of having a hard time connecting to that, think about it this way. It's like cheerleader parents, or like, where they live their life through their child.
Right. I always wanted to be a cheerleader. Now my girl's a cheerleader.
Exactly.
I'm living the best life.
Or a gymnast and or an athlete, and they're like pushing and not listening to their kid, because what's happening is they're putting their dreams upon their child. Like that's the kind of same thing. A little different, but same thing.
No,
it's like,
absolutely. It was the same kind of thing. It's like, I'm living through the people that I'm helping.
Yeah.
Yay, I'm really living. No, I wasn't. So now when I help somebody, it's amazing because I'm healthy.
Yes.
Mentally, I'm the most healthy I've ever been in my life. So I'm in a good place.
Yes.
And now I can actually truly help somebody.
Yes.
Like I want them to be in a good place like I am, as opposed to before it was like, I want you to be in a good place so I can feel how good that feels through you.
right.
And it's horrible. It's such a broken way of thinking.
Yeah, but it is important to recognize. That
It is. And
that's what
I
happens.
couldn't because like I had irrational thinking.
Well, and the same thing is if you're too close to a situation, you can't always recognize things. So it's always good to check in with, like, if you have a doctor, if you have a therapist, a trusted friend, and kind of get a little perspective, right? And it doesn't have to be like, can you analyze my life really quick, right? It could be innocuous questions.
Hey, barista at Intelligentsia.
Yeah.
Let me unload this on you real quick.
Intelligentsia, sponsor us.
We love your coffee.
Yes.
No, that coffee was bomb. It's actually really
Black
good.
Cat. But so now if you're like me, you're someone where you had an injury that was not of your choice.
At all.
You don't really have an option of whether or not that you're going to make life changes. Like this is where life goes, kabam,
right.
change, right? And, it doesn't, some of us sometimes might look at it as like, oh, is this like cosmic punishment or karma for something?
Right. It's weird, right?
Right. Like you're like, this is something out of my control. And it's not. Like the hard part is when you have to balance out that you're a victim of something, but don't be a victim.
Don't be a victim. Right.
So like I was a victim of a car accident, victim of circumstance out of my control. Now a victim of my brain not functioning the way it's supposed to. So Joe's right. I could have sat there and wallowed for years.
You could still be doing. You could.
I could still do it
woe
right
is
now.
me.
Yeah. Oh, woe is me. Like I said, have a pity party, right? And again, with recovery, you think especially if you had a concussion, the physical stuff goes away after about 3 months. Like everything, your hormones have recalibrated, the swelling has gone down, all that, you're good. And then the psychological stuff. Not everyone gets post-concussion, but those of us that do, fucking sucks.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Right? Because suddenly, I have anxiety. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do to earn fucking anxiety?
The greatest ass kicker in the world is anxious.
Yes, which is absolutely
like if I'm walking
horrible.
through a dark alley with anybody, it's going to be Lauren. And I'm walking through that alley arrogantly. I'm waving money. I'm talking shit. I'm not worried because I got Lauren with me.
Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to run the other way.
Oh, shit.
But so there, I could literally have just spent time going, woe is me. And yeah, I had my pity party when I developed all this stuff because I was like, I didn't do anything. Right. And it's like, why?
Right.
I didn't have my whole, some people have a crisis of faith. I didn't have that. So luckily I didn't start questioning like God or the world or the universe saying, why
is this doing it? Why is it happening to me?
Right. Because at some point I just had to be like, well, we talked about this. I was like, okay, well, this is it.
You're right. It doesn't matter why.
Yeah.
It happened. Like, it's cool to know why if there's a reason, but sometimes, hey, it doesn't change.
or you're not supposed to know the reason.
Right. Which that's hard.
Which
that's
sucks.
very hard for me.
Which sucks.
That's very hard for me.
But that's when, because Joe asked me about making the change, and I was like, I didn't have a choice.
You're
I
right.
had to. Right. And he's like, well, you could have wallowed. I'm like, no, I couldn't have. But that's just me.
That's why you're awesome, though. That's why you're doing so well. And that's why you're kicking this ass. You know,
Yeah.
there's so many people out there who will talk about this 50 years from now.
Yeah.
You know?
It takes a while, and it can be really hard. And again, this is why, like, when I met Joe, and that's when we connected. And I remember, I think it was at the night we met at this dinner. I was like, and we were talking about like, oh, we should connect and we should do stuff. And I was like, dude, we should do like a YouTube video about this.
Yeah.
Right. So the YouTube video turned into this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy how we connected over this. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It was very kismet.
It was very strange for me because I had been at it longer, about a year for me. And I hadn't talked to anybody within 30 years of my own age. And in talking to you, I was like, oh, and it's weird because you got it.
Yeah.
Like it's
no, like he said it, and I like looked at him, I was like, yeah. And I remember his eyes kind of got wide. He's like, I'm sorry, what?
But yeah, like wait, you understand what I'm saying? It's like speaking your native tongue in a foreign land.
Yes.
And you actually get to speak the language that you grew up speaking. Like you got it, and it meant the world. Like it was such an amazing moment for me.
It's refreshing.
It was.
You know?
It was great. Everybody should find a Lauren.
Oh.
but don't let him beat you like she beats me.
Guys, I know this is again become a running gag, but just as a display, I have yet to hit this guy once.
No. She just threatens me with violence.
I'm having like an office moment where it's like where you just stare at the camera.
You got the gym.
I'm channeling Aubrey Plaza, like.
You know her Instagram handle or her Twitter handle? It's Evil Hag.
Oh my God, I love that.
Isn't that perfect?
That's amazing.
Aubrey Plaza, who had a stroke.
Yes.
If anybody knows Aubrey Plaza, send her our way because we love her. Also, I'm Puerto Rican. She's half Puerto Rican.
I'm Latina. Let's go with that.
So yeah, it's the choice to make change. Like it's up to us, you know. And there's some people out there. So I've mentioned the Stromies. They've been on the show before, and I love the Stromies.
Mm-hmm.
Stromie Sarah, who's been a huge part of my support system. She hit me up, and we have like the same heart in this. Like we want to help people so badly. And there was somebody, you know, obviously I'm not going to name names, but they had this thing. What are you thankful for after your stroke? And then somebody said absolutely nothing. And she was like, you know, I'm trying to reach this person. I'm trying to connect and get them to understand life is beautiful, you know? So she hit me up. I hit up that person. We started talking and we got like on a really good place. A lot of people just need like a community.
Right.
But she also like, there's people out there who just need to look at something and say, hey, no matter what, I'm going to make this work. And the more you do that, the more people you're going to connect with that have that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to be in a good place before you can actually meet other people who are in a good place. If you're in a negative space, you're going to surround yourself with negative people.
Well, and it has to be when you're ready. So sometimes if you're a helper and like Joe, and we've had conversations like this where like you want to do everything you can to help someone, but you have to be ready to accept help.
You do.
And if you're not ready, that's okay.
It's so hard.
But it's so hard as someone who wants to help. It's a lesson I had to learn as a teacher. Like you can only do so much.
It's so hard with when the people are like friends and family, because it's like, I can help you.
You're like, I want to shake you.
Right.
But you can't do anything.
You can't, because you end up hurting yourself.
And damaging whatever relationship you might still have with that person because they're like, I don't want it. I'm not ready. Don't push me.
Absolutely. Like I feel that, you know, and my new way of thinking is, old way of thinking is no, you just keep pushing. They'll get it because you're right.
Because you're going to force it upon them.
Right. And that makes no sense. It has to be a willful choice, you know?
The best way to do it, especially if you're listening to us and you're like a caregiver, other than just having patience, it's also helping lead by example. Right.
Absolutely.
So, and if you are in recovery, that's another way is to lead by example for the family. So if you want to encourage your friends and family or people in your like circle, make changes in their life, you can't force it. It's like when you have like, people beating you over the head with something. Let's be real. I'm a Taurus. People tell me to do things.
Oh my God, she'll do the opposite because Lauren's a jerk.
Yeah, I'm like, don't tell me what to do. Oh hell no! Like the more and more people tell me to do something. Like my mom quickly learned when I was little. The more she told me to do something, the less I would do it. So I understand that. Like if someone's coming at me and be like, you need to make a change and you need to do this, especially if you use the word need, I'm all like, whoa, slow your roll, dude. Slow your roll. right? So the best thing you can do is
Lauren's like, hold my beer
Yeah.
and watch me do nothing.
Yeah, literally here. Right. So like when Joe's telling me, like, I think it was back with Black
It
Panther.
was Black Panther.
When he was like, you need to go see this. This is before he really knew about you don't tell Lauren what to do.
Wow. That was a shock to my system because you had mentioned it and I'm like, it can't be that bad. It's that bad.
I literally did not see it for 2 months because I was
Out
like,
of
no.
spite.
Yes.
Out of spite.
Don't tell me what to do.
It was so crazy. I was like, have you seen it? No. I was like, are you going to see it? No.
And so he would text me about it and I was like, dude, seriously, stop. Like,
I think that's when the abuse started.
but so that's where you got to get to the point where it's like you can want the best for someone, but they have to want it. So you got to live.
Lauren, that's so hard.
Yeah.
I struggle with it even today.
But what you got to do, this comes to boundaries.
Yes.
A lot of caregivers, a lot of quote unquote helpers and people who like to give, we forget about boundaries, either our own boundaries or the other person's.
Right.
So you have to, one, respect the other person's boundaries, right? So like if they don't want to accept help, you can't keep beating on that door.
It's their life.
Yeah. And you're not being respectful. Right. And so, even if like, again, if it's a child, that's something different. Okay.
No. But there's adults that act like children. But bottom line, they're adults.
Yes. And you have to just let them live their nonsense.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The only thing you can do is like, if you imagine, like if you guys are in like neighbors, like not actual neighbors, but like neighbors in life, let them have their little Eeyore cloud or whatever's going on. And you just kind of live in your sunlight. And so that they can peek over from their rain cloud and see like, hey, they're doing okay.
Right.
And maybe you can help inspire them to step out from their rain cloud.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
So before I would be very forceful with my help. It's like, look, this is how it works. It's so good. But now, it didn't do anything.
No.
It did nothing. It did the opposite. So not only am I not helping the person because they really don't want to be helped in that moment.
Or in that way.
Right. I'm hindering my progress. I'm now in a mood. Now I'm now stuck in this vortex trying to help somebody who doesn't want to be helped.
Yes.
And now I'm stuck doing that.
Yes.
I'm not growing.
No.
I'm now stagnant.
Well, and beyond that, especially if you were pre-stroke where you were attaching, and even now, attaching your self-worth and your self-esteem to your ability to help someone.
Right.
So now not only are you're wasting energy and time, they're resenting you, but there goes your self-esteem as you, not just a negative vortex, you're actually like swirling down.
Right. I'm helping no one.
No.
You're
harming everyone.
I'm harming everyone,
Yeah.
even friends and family, people who are close to me, because now I'm in a mood. I have this negative energy that's just blasting out into other people. I'm ruining their days. I'm slowing down everyone's progress. I've chosen.
And none of us need that responsibility.
No, at all. So like one of the biggest changes I've made is let people be people. People are adults. They can make their own decisions. So like with family, it's very difficult.
Yes.
With close friends, it's very difficult, but we're all adults.
Yeah.
We make these decisions. I easily could have just been like, it's fine. I'm just going to do the exact same things. I didn't. I meditate every day. I eat right. Like I get the blood going. I'm not stagnant. I'm super positive for the most part. I'm work in progress like the rest of us. I have my days. Unfortunately, like I've had a few of late, but I'm doing my best to fight through that. Other people, they're people. If you want help, I am here. And we, like you guys out there, anybody that's listening, and several of you have actually reached out to me and said, you mentioned community and like, I love that. Yes, I am here for you guys. The NeuroNerds, we are always here to help, right?
Yeah, and then like someone reached out to me. I'm not going to say his name. It was a private Facebook message where it's like, I didn't realize it was in my other inbox.
It's weird. Yeah.
But it was another guy who, I liked his first thing. He goes, "Hi, Lauren, disclaimer. I'm not attempting to diagnose you." But so I was like, I appreciate that. Except at first I was like, excuse you? No. But, he was offering, he's like, hey, what you have sounds like something I might have. Oh. You might want to look into this,
That's awesome.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Again, like someone might be like, that's unsolicited advice. Right. But what's really cool is when, again, this is someone coming respectfully, like, again, if you want to help someone, this is where you come respectfully or living by example is like, hey, I just want to put this out there.
Information.
It's up to you to accept it or not. Right.
Exactly. So all you can do really is provide people with information.
Yes. Or an example.
An example. And they can do with that what they will.
Exactly. And that's up to them.
You can't force them. You cannot force
change.
You can't. You can't.
Change happens no matter what, but you can't force it.
Right.
So this is when if you're a recovering control freak like me,
right.
right? It is terrifying. The idea.
Are you a control freak with other people too? Like, did you try to control like other people's actions?
Oh, I do that. I like playing.
Well,
the
you're
Game
a
of
teacher.
Thrones. Yeah, and I like playing the Game of Thrones. I like to manipulate, but I use my powers for good.
Oh, hello, Lauren Littlefinger Manzano.
Basically, I don't know if I would be Littlefinger or Varys. I'm one of those. If you don't know that, go watch seasons 1 through 5 because after that it got weird.
Hello, Lauren the Mountain Manzano.
No, I'm the spider.
No, you're the mountain because you're an ass kicker.
Oh,
and
I'm
pretty
a
sure.
zombie?
I'm pretty sure if it came down to it, you can crush my skull with your bare hands.
I just had a flashback. What's the movie where they like smash the? Is it Fifth Element where they smash the head in like the green? Right?
I think that's Scanners.
No, I think it's Fifth Element. I'm gonna have to go check this. But anyways,
Go in, my man.
So, but anyways, the moral of the story is, I'm sorry, that's the moral. But you gotta, make a choice for yourself, whatever's best for your health and your recovery, and as long as you're in the right frame of mind, right? Like. If you in your mind, you're like, oh, for my recovery, I need to go have heroin, right?
Yeah, that might not be the right thing to do.
Go get some perspective,
You're
right?
right.
This is when you ask that outside person and it's like, hey, how am I doing, right? So like, what, are these good choices? Right? Maybe not.
Is heroin really the answer?
Right. But so, do what's good for you. And again, that might mean leaving people by the wayside.
Right.
And hoping they catch back up or they join you back in your journey.
That's the whole, but if they don't,
no judgment.
You can't do anything about that.
Nothing on you.
In no way, shape, or form should you drop down and wait for them.
Yes.
They have to meet
level
you.
up.
Right. You're on an upward trajectory.
Let
You
me
can't
put it
slow
this
that
way.
down.
I'm going to get this all nerdy. You just maxed out on experience points.
Boom. There
Right?
it is. There
Right?
it is.
You want to be able to use those level 6 mage spells, right?
Holy shit.
Right?
Now, when you said
wanna-
nerded it up,
Do you want to
You
be able
really
to
mean-
cast like fire arrows or whatever? Like, you're not going to be able to do that if you don't push the level up button and move your XP around, okay? And then memorize that to your mage book.
I am still blown away. Like, I've known you so long now, and you're not a friend, Laura, like your family.
Yeah.
I am blown away how much of a fucking nerd you are. Like, you're like the nerd queen. That's what you should be.
Oh
For
my God.
Halloween, you should be the nerd queen.
Ooh.
Like, I don't even know if that's a thing, but that should be a thing. It should just be you. Other people should dress as you, the nerd queen,
Oh my
for
God.
Halloween. They should do that.
So sweatpants, a Marvel t-shirt, and no makeup.
While twerking. Right? I think that's the perfect Halloween costume, guys.
I'm teaching twerk next week. It's called Put the Boo in Booty. It's Halloween twerk.
That is hilarious. I
Yes.
think that's beautiful.
Oh,
Right?
I like that.
Come on, it's like a little double entendre.
Yes.
But yeah. So like literally focus on yourselves. You're going to be in a good place. People, like-minded people are going to be there with
They'll
you.
be attracted to you.
You can't. And unfortunately, I say this all the time. I said this for years. Everybody grows. Unfortunately, most people grow apart.
Oh,
Right? Does
I was
that
going to
sound
say
dope?
grow at different paces.
Yeah.
too.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, people grow apart. The hope is everybody grows together and gets to the same top of the mountain. Sometimes people don't want to, work that. Some people don't want what.
I was about to go science nerdy. I was like, oh, like entropy?
Okay. So
I was like, ooh, should we take this over to science? Like the Big Bang, the way the universe is all separating apart?
if we're talking about the Big Bang, we're going to talk about the Big Bang Theory.
Oh, no,
and
no, no. We
Kaylee
got,
Cuoco.
all right, guys, on that note. So when you're ready, you might have to make a change. It might be of your own choice. It might be the universe, God, the world, circumstance is making you make a choice.
Right.
Try to choose what's going to help you grow, help you recover.
Right.
Into the next version of yourself.
Exactly. We're all growing. We're all a work in progress. And choose something for you. Make sure you're in a good place because you can't help anybody if you're broken. You can't.
Heroin.
You have to make sure you're good before you can help anyone else. It's like that thing, like if you're starving and you have like your kids, you can't give the kids the last little bit of food because then you're going to starve and you're all going to die. You have to eat it. You have to have enough sustenance to go out and forage more food so everybody lives.
It's like when you're in the airplane and they say secure your mask first and then help everyone
Because
else.
if you pass out, everyone's dead.
And on that horribly depressing note.
On that horribly accurate note, or as DJ Khaled would say, accurate.
Oh God.
I think this has been awesome. This has been very helpful for me.
Oh yeah.
You know, I think this is great. So now we do our wind downs.
Yes.
Big shout out to Avid, our sponsor, and making us sound amazing on Pro
Tools,
Tools.
y'all.
What? Woo, woo. Pew pew pew.
Pew pew.
Wait, is that?
Brr.
Bra, bo, bo. I don't know this.
All right, and moving on from that. Thank you.
In and out.
Yeah.
I don't know why I got Jamaican all of a sudden.
We went from reggaeton.
Reggaeton. See,
Okay,
it kind of
okay,
all goes
okay.
together. So, we are the NeuroNerds. We are always here to help.
Thanks to Patreon, guys, all of our supporters.
All of our patrons on Patreon. Thank you guys so much.
If y'all want behind the scenes, that's when, if you want to see the insanity that goes on in our very tiny, very hot room.
It's very,
Right?
very small right now. It is
Yeah.
very hot.
We still have clothes on, so that's all good.
Because if I didn't, I'd be punched in the face.
Oh my God.
No? See,
Join
no threats.
Patreon, y'all.
Yeah, join Patreon. We really appreciate the help and we love you guys. We have like a bunch of amazing content for you guys, for our patrons on
Yes.
Patreon. A huge thanks to Lauren for being so awesome and just being as inspiring as you are to me. I really mean that,
Oh.
and I adore you. Reach out to Lauren at Lauren L. Manzano. Reach out to me, Joe So Rocks, everywhere.
Yep.
Reach out to the NeuroNerds at the NeuroNerds.
Don't be afraid to make changes, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when I say reach out, I really mean that. There's several people that I've been talking to over the last couple of weeks who are now my brain buddies. Let's all be brain buddies.
Or just reach out on You So Rocks.
You
If
can
you're
reach
not
out.
part-
Yeah, absolutely. On the
you're not
Facebook
part
You
of
So
it-
Rock forum. So you guys can start talking with one another and making like real, true brain buddies. Like, let's make a difference, guys.
Yeah, it might be a little less intimidating to reach out to them instead of us.
Yeah. We have a tendency of being a lot.
Yeah, just a lot. Okay.
So thank you guys. We love you guys. On that note.
Oh
My God.
I was like, that nerd is me. So he's the neuro, I'm the nerd. Ready, guys?
That works. That's perfect.
It's like Pinky and the Brain.
On that note,
NeuroNerds
out.
out. Do, 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 do. I don't even know the damn song.